Hello everyone, my name is Dominique Fulambinsu. You can call me Vola. I'm here today to talk about learner autonomy. I hope you will enjoy the talk. First, please have a look at this slide. Okay, next is this slide. Okay, please pay attention to this as well. And to this one too. Okay. Don't forget to take notes while you are listening to me so that you won't forget what you have learned today. And on YouTube, you can click on the CC button and you can see the subtitles as I am talking. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Okay, so first I'm going to give you some useful vocabulary to make sure that you understand what I mean. And I will talk about helping learners develop their learner autonomy, how learners are different. And I will talk about characteristics of autonomous learners. And I will give you two examples of learners, and you can judge whether they are autonomous or not. I will talk briefly about why I decided to study about learner autonomy. And in the end, we are going to talk about you, how autonomous you are, and how to become more autonomous. I'm sure you are autonomous already, but how to become more autonomous. Okay? First thing first, I'm going to talk briefly about where I am from. Do you know this animal? Do you know the name of this animal? It's a lemur. And this is a nice beach. And this is what they call Alley of Baobabs. And these are in Madagascar. That's where I come from. Madagascar is the fourth biggest island in the world. It is located in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Africa. Okay, enough about Madagascar. Let's talk about learner autonomy. So first, these are some useful words that I would like you to know. Learner autonomy, autonomous learners, make decisions, and motivation. I put the Japanese versions there so that you know what I'm talking about. Okay? All right. I work at Kanda University of International Studies as a lecturer and a learning advisor. As a learning advisor, I help language learners develop their learner autonomy. I help language learners develop their learner autonomy. What does that mean? I help students, and students come to me and ask many questions, such as how to improve my listening, how to memorize vocabulary, how to speak fluently, how to be good at writing, how to find motivation to read in English, and how to improve my English. How to. There are many how to questions. Do you know the answers to these questions? I don't know either. The thing is, there is no single answer to those questions, because it depends. Every learner is different. Every learner is different. How are learners different? Do you have any ideas how learners are different? Okay, let's see some examples. Learners have different goals, for example. For example, me, for my Japanese learning, my goal is to be able to interact in everyday life. For example, when I go grocery shopping, when I see some friends, I would like to interact with them. So my goal is to be able to speak not really fluently, but just be able to communicate in those occasions, in those situations. Some people who are learning Japanese may have different goals. For example, they want to learn how to write kanji. They may want to sit for the JLPT test. So everybody has their goals. Learners have different interests as well. They have different needs, different desires, different ages. I'm sure you are still very young, and you may have less difficulty learning a language than I do. Learners have different personalities, different learning styles, different learning strategies, different beliefs about language learning, and different motivation. So learners are different. And that is why it is important to help them develop learner autonomy. Okay? And what is learner autonomy? It is the ability or the capacity to take charge of your learning. That is, You make your own decisions on your language learning. You make decisions and you take actions. So learner autonomy is that you make your own decisions about your language learning and you take actions. Okay? And you do that according to all these different aspects like goals, interests, needs, etc. Okay. What is being autonomous in language learning? Exactly. Any ideas? What is being autonomous in language learning? Here you have 10 statements about autonomous learners. Some of them are true and some of them are false. So take a few seconds to read the statements and decide which ones are true, which ones are false. For example, autonomous learners work with others. That's number one. Is that true? Is that false? Okay, I'll give you 1 minute to think about whether they are true or false. All right, finished? Okay, let's check if you have the correct answers. Okay, so number 2 and number 6 are false. Autonomous learners work with others. Number 1 is true. Yes, you work with your teachers, your classmates, your friends, and you can work alone too. That is part of being autonomous, but not all the time. Okay? So you work with others and work alone when necessary. Autonomous learners have the motivation to learn. They choose what to learn. They choose what materials to use. They think deeply about their learning. That is, they do lots of reflection. They set goals for their learning. They know how to evaluate their learning. So they know, for example, if they have improved. They know, for example, what to improve. And they choose how to learn. So these are some characteristics of autonomous learners. Now, let's have a look at two learners, Hina and Yui. Hina, what is Hina's goal? Her goal is to study at a university in the US. So She has hobbies like playing video games, watching movies, reading comics, and to improve her English, she reads a vocabulary book recommended by her friend, and she tries to memorize 40 words a week by reading the words again and again. And what she thinks of her activities? She does not really like reading the vocabulary book, but still continues to read it because it was recommended by her friend. Her friend said it was a very good book, so yeah, she continues reading it. And she thinks that it is very difficult to memorize 40 words a week. And as she feels that her strategy, her activity is not really effective, she's not motivated to learn English. Do you think Hina is autonomous? She's a little bit autonomous because she still does work a lot. She works on her vocabulary, on her reading, but not really because she only listens to the recommendation from her friend, but she does not try to make her own decisions. When she feels that it's not working, she still keeps doing it. So she does not try other things. So yeah, she's autonomous, but not really. Okay, so what Hina can do? Remember, her interests are playing video games, watching movies, and reading comics. So the activities that she can do is to read a vocabulary book, because maybe that is still necessary, even though it's not enjoyable, because she needs to study at university in the US, and try to use the vocabulary in writing or speaking. For example, use 3 or 4 phrases a week, not 40, because 40 is a bit too much for her. She can read comics in English because that's interesting for her. She can put her video game settings in English. This way she can read sentences in English all the time when she plays video games. She can learn with English movies with subtitles. For example, note down useful vocabulary twice a week. Use the vocabulary in writing or speaking. Or listen and repeat a part of the movie because she likes watching movies. So this way she connects her language learning with her hobbies, and she also uses the words she has learned, and that helps her memorize them. This way she might see the improvement and she might have more motivation. What do you think? Yeah, autonomous learners try to find motivation, try to connect their interests to their learning. It's not always possible to connect interest and learning, but try the best you can. There should be always a little connection, like reading comics in English. If you really like reading manga in Japanese, try in English. Not every day, but from time to time. That can help. That can help you have some motivation. Now let's talk about Yui. So her goal is to become a flight attendant. Her interests are hanging out with friends and watching documentaries and movies. And to improve her English, She watches YouTube videos in English, for example, about countries around the world and different cultures, how to improve English pronunciation, and she notes down useful vocabulary from the videos. She talks about what she learned in the videos when she is with her friends. And she also writes a journal about the videos using the vocabulary. And sometimes she asks her teacher to correct her journal writing. And she really likes watching YouTubes and talking with her friends, so she's very motivated to learn English. Do you think Yui is an autonomous learner? Yes, she is. She is an autonomous learner because she chooses her materials, she connects her interests with her learning, and she uses what she has learned, and she's super motivated. So yes, she is autonomous. She made the decision to use these resources and these activities. Now, how about you? What is your goal? What are your interests? What activities do you do to improve English? And what do you think of your activities? Think about it. Okay? It's okay if you don't know, if you cannot complete this now, but please think about it. Think about these, these aspects of your learning and answer this question. Are you an autonomous learner? Why or why not? Think about it. Are you autonomous? Do you make decisions on your learning? Apart from your assignments, do you do anything outside class to improve your English? Do you connect your interests with your language learning? Okay, these are some questions that you can ask yourselves, and you may judge whether you are autonomous or not. Okay, I would like to talk briefly about why I decided to learn about learner autonomy. In countries like Madagascar, learner autonomy is missing. Students tend to rely too much on teachers. They just do the homework given by the teachers. They expect the teachers to give them everything. Yet, what is given in class is not enough. It's not enough to master a language, and most of them are not motivated because they cannot see the effectiveness of their strategies. It can be really hard for them to master a language. So that is why I wanted to help my students become more autonomous. Learner autonomy helps learners succeed in their language learning. Autonomous learners are more successful in language learning because they are motivated, they want to learn, they think deeply about their learning, they have goals, they know what works or does not work for them, they work with others when necessary, they can make decisions on what and how to learn, and they take actions to improve the language they learn. And taking actions is the most important thing. Some students have lots of goals, like I want to improve my speaking, I want to improve my listening, but they don't take actions. They just do their assignments given by their teachers, but they don't do any self-study, they don't make effort to make learning opportunities. So taking actions is a very big aspect of learner autonomy. Okay, so please take actions. Learner autonomy is not useful only in language learning. It can be also very useful in different aspects of your lives. As you know, in life, we never stop learning, and you cannot have teachers all the time to tell us what to do. So being autonomous can be helpful in any other fields of study and fields of work that you are going to do later. So it is important that you develop learner autonomy when you are at the university. So try to take charge of your learning, make decisions, think about resources that you would like to use, and try to evaluate whether these resources or the activities that you use are helpful or not. If they're not helpful, then change. Try other things. Okay, so be curious. When something doesn't work, try something else and have goals. Okay, so to summarize, to become more autonomous, try to think about these questions. What are my goals? What are my interests? What activities do I do to improve my English or another language if you learn another language? What materials do I use to improve my English? Are my activities useful? Are my materials useful? Am I motivated to learn? Why or why not? And what can motivate me to learn? Motivation is very important. So if you don't have motivation, try to reflect on why you are not motivated and how can you get motivation. Okay, so think about all of these questions. Reflect. Okay? Okay. And the last question for you is, what are you going to do to improve the language you are learning? If the language you are learning is English, what are you going to do to improve English? What actions are you going to take from tomorrow? Yes, think about it. Think about it and think about the questions that I asked before. Have a goal or have goals. Think about your interests, how you are going to connect them with your language learning. Think about the activities that you do to improve your English. Think about the materials or resources that you use. Are they effective? Are they really helpful? If they are not, it's okay to change. If the activities are not helpful, it's okay to change. Okay? All right. Okay, so this is the last slide. Please pay attention to the numbers. They are different for each year, I was told. So please make sure you enter the right number. I hope you've learned something from this talk, and I do hope that you will think about the questions that I put on the former slides to become more autonomous and enjoy your language learning. Try to connect your language learning with your interests and have specific goals. I wish you all the best and thank you very much for having me today and for listening to me until the end. Thank you. Bye.